Hi everybody, this is JPar, and that's right folks, we're back again. And this time we're reviewing Alita, Battle Angel. It's a sci-fi action flick about a cyborg girl who kicks ass, so how can you go wrong? It's based on a manga and an anime, and the screenplay is by James Cameron. So let's get into it. Hi, everybody. This is JPar, and you are watching the We Promise Nothing show. Tonight on the show, we have Kathy, we have Dabu, and we have Clayton. And today,
Hi.
what?
Hi. Hi.
All right. Today on the show, we are talking about Alita, Battle Angel. And by the way, just happy to say, glad to see you all back here watching us and watching our videos. And glad you're all safe because we love you all. And it's been a trying time, so it's time to watch some movies because there's nothing else to do in this damn world except watch movies and stream shit. So here we are. We're back again, folks. We promise nothing. Back again. And we're going to start with some Alita Battle Angel, which you can currently watch on Netflix. And yeah, so.
And on YouTube.
And on YouTube.
Just putting it out there.
Yeah, if you want. Who pays for you? Oh, yeah.
Well, not me. Not me.
You're on YouTube, yes.
No.
YouTube, yes. YouTube.
I didn't accidentally. I swear to God.
All right, so it's directed by Robert Rodriguez. And it's starring Rosa. One second here. Rosa Salazar, Christoph Waltz. Sorry, my apologies. Jennifer Connelly. It's good to see her back. Mahershala Ali and Ed Skrein and others. So first in.
Oh! You can't say you can't others. Anya Taylor-Joy.
Sorry, I made a mistake. It's not Anya Taylor-Joy. It's Rosa Salazar.
As the voice?
As Alita.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. I made the mistake too.
I figured that they cast her for her eyes, you know?
Me too. I was just like, oh my God, it's perfect. It's Anya Taylor-Joy. She's got big eyes. It makes sense. No, sorry. Actually, Rosa Salazar, as I learned today while I was doing my IMDb, I was like, oh shit, I've been telling people it's Anya Taylor-Joy this whole time.
Wow.
But no, it is not. So Anya Taylor-Joy of Queen's Gambit is not Alita, it's Rosa Salazar. So yeah, this is based off an anime. It's based off Gundam, which is a manga series. And yeah, as far as anime adaptations, I think it's pretty good. Of course, we will be talking about that in just a second. And also, you know, anime adaptations, they don't do very well, right, Clayton? In the live action?
No, they do not.
Dragon Ball, like Last Airbender, like all of that. It's just like not very good.
Pretty much everything. Ghost in the Shell.
Oh yeah, Ghost in the Shell. As far as like movies, like I mean, Ghost in the Shell might be one of the better ones, but it still wasn't that good. Doesn't match up to like the actual anime itself. So yeah, so that's where this comes from, and it's about a girl who's like, is like way into the future. It's like hard to explain. She's a cyborg girl who kicks ass. That's really all you need to know. So if that isn't enough it has some kind of cool, it has some cool effects. It's actually the screenplay is written by James Cameron, directed and James Cameron and Lita Kalogridis, I guess. And you know what's funny? Even IMDb says and others. He stole my line.
We're just like IMDb is just like us now.
No, they just stole my line. They're just like I've been referring that so much as time that they copied me.
That's plagiarism.
It is, right? I should charge them money every time they use that. Now, so let's start with first impressions there, folks. What did you guys think? Well, first of all, Clayton, I got to talk to you. Were you familiar with the anime or manga series?
A little bit. I saw years ago they made an actual animated anime Battle Angel Alita movie or OVA, whatever you want to call it. And I remember very little about it except for the Doc and his extraordinary rocket hammer, which I thought was just bonkers wacko cool. and the look of Alita herself pretty much. But I have always been aware of it since the 90s.
Mm-hmm. So I know you're a big anime guy. Well, we were in high school.
Yeah, when we were in high school, I was big into like the stuff at the time, like obviously stuff like
Ghost in the Shell,
Akira,
Akira,
Ghost in the Shell, Appleseed,
Ninja
Ninja
Scroll,
Scroll, yeah,
Devilman.
no,
Evangelion?
not Devilman, but Evangelion. I
Oh
was
yeah,
big
yeah.
into Evangelion. I
Right.
still am actually, but
Gundam.
no, Alita, yeah, Gundam Endless Waltz because it was on Teletoon, and I remember watching Battle Angel Alita once, and I thought it was pretty cool, but I don't really remember too much about it. I never actually bought it on like physical media or anything.
Okay. And as for me, this is my introduction to Alita. I knew it was an anime before, and I just never watched it. I wasn't into anime as much as you are. I know I watched a select few that you recommended to me and such, but not really too many. Yeah, so this was my introduction to the character. What about you, Kathy and Dabu?
Well, I'm not really into anime myself, and so I never really had any history on Alita or any expectations about it. I just knew it was based on an anime character, so I didn't have a lot of expectations going into the movie anyway. Like I do watch some anime, it's like Princess Mononoke and stuff like that, but not like I'm not like, oh, anime, yay. That's just not my thing.
And Dabu.
Same. It's not to say that I couldn't appreciate what an anime could bring. There's a lot of the stories that they have embedded into these animes in general that I feel could always capture my attention. Especially this one. This one actually had a very, very interesting tone. Even something I felt like Ghost in the Shell didn't do for me, I find. Probably because they did a much better rendition of doing this live action movie than they had done with obviously Ghost in the Shell, because I hear similar comments.
Did you like Ghost in the Shell at all?
I remember leaving the movie with not quite high expectations, and I feel like I left the same way. So there was nothing that was really impressive. With maybe some of the themes embedded within it too, because I mean that distant future with I mean we're sidetracking here with the Ghost in the Shell thing, but I feel like it in itself it had something to offer, but it just didn't do anything for me. This one was a little different. This one actually had not only a great back setting to it all, and sometimes some of it is a bit plausible. Like you would think that in the this somewhat distant future, this could be a thing, even though there's still a lot of heavy influences of science fiction that are clearly not believable. So it was like blend both. But no, I was really impressed with this. I was not familiar with Alita as an anime up until someone had told it to me. And I think when I'd seen the trailer for the first time before someone had mentioned it, I think that her big eyes obviously gave that away a little bit. It's like they were trying to make it blatantly obvious that this was coming directly from, an anime source. So,
yeah. So hold that thought for just 1 second. So so let's get into your review then. We'll get into the 5-star rating. That's how we do it around here, folks. We break it down to a 5-star rating. Dabu is gonna start us off. He's gonna let us know what his rating is out of 5 stars and how he got there without giving away too much, because we're going to get into the best and the worst. We're going to save that, and then we're going to really dig into this movie. So, Dabu, go ahead.
Well, because it actually had little influence on me to begin with, I felt like, again, because I went into this with lower expectations, I think I left with it with a much better feeling that I thought I was going to get. It was a very, very complete experience, I think, is the way I might overly generalize it. There are some movies that end weak, but can sometimes end strong, or like there's not a very thorough spread of even action and plot throughout the whole movie. Sometimes this was one of those that actually seemed to have a really nice even spread across the entire film. There was not a moment across it that I felt I was bored. So I think I left with it with a good strong 4 out of 5. Almost wanted to give it a 4.5, almost, but I think it's missing something, but we'll get to that.
All right, Kathy.
Well, I didn't, like I said before, pardon me, I didn't go in with very big expectations, but I'm gonna give it a 4, which is kind of low for me, but it's not a bad thing. It's just because there's a couple things that were a little bit off for me, but overall, like, I enjoyed the movie.
Okay, and Clayton.
I thought it was okay. Like, I feel like it had a lot of like, this is my first impressions, just my first impressions. Like,
This
what
is
I
your
had
rating
going-
out of 5 and why?
Oh, rating out of 5, 0 out of 5. They killed a dog. You get nothing.
What?
They killed a dog. There's one scene where they killed a dog, and I
We
was
don't
like,
see
no. I heard the dog whimper. I heard it, and that was and that what's his name there greased it, and I was like, oh well, this movie gets 0.
Are you fucking kidding me? Is that your fucking rating for real?
Yeah, no, it's like a 2.5 out of 5.
All right.
Lots of lots of
Don't be
genre
that guy.
cliches. Yeah, yeah. I was offended. Lots of genre cliches. Even as far as like anime goes, I didn't feel like the story really stretched it enough, and I don't like. And it says, I think it's faithful to the anime from what I remember. I looked up a couple of wiki pages and whatnot just to kind of refresh myself with the actual manga and the anime that I had seen. And I think they were faithful to the source material, so I give them props for that. But I also have to say that the original didn't really grab my attention a whole lot. So the fact that I will probably never watch this one again means that they followed that same formula.
Okay.
They gave me the same thing. Lots of really awesome special effects, especially, well, I'll get into it best and worst, but yeah, I'd say it's middle of the road for me.
Wow. And I thought you were going to like this movie. Although when you made a comment there in the chat, I was like, oh boy, he's got a hot take here. Okay, so me, I also give it a 4. A generous 4, but also a very enthusiastic 4. There's definitely some problems, like movie-wise, for this movie, but they make up with it with so much else, like a lot of cool effects, the background setting, the world building, just like, and just it's kind of I know it's an idea taken from an anime, but you know, we haven't seen that in live action. It's kind of a new idea for live action. So I like that. I like something new. I like something different. And even the story was different. And maybe that's where, you know, it strays along the path as far as movies go, and a well-structured movie might be. But you know, overall, I do like it. And for, you know, for first couple of viewings, I definitely would give it a 4. Of course, the more I watch it, the more cracks and mistakes I notice in this one. But, you know, I'm not going to let that take away my enjoyment for the first time I watch it. So I'm going to give it a 4. All right. So now we're going to break it down to our best and our worst. Clayton, I'm going to save you for last on this one.
Okay.
All right. Dabu, you let us off, so go ahead.
Well, actually, I think you brought up one of them. One of my favorites was the world building. It had.
I thought you were going to say where they killed the dog. You monster!
Yeah.
My favorite part, Clayton, was when they killed the dog.
I mean, I might be with you right there, Clay, when it comes to the whole idea of killing, you know, innocent animals on screen. You better have a good reason.
Yeah.
Actually, that had a reason for it. I think it was a way of establishing, well, aside from the fact that they, you know, had to give an excuse to have one of those mercenaries in the room to try and fight for her, other than for their own personal, you know, selfish reasons, right? But putting that aside, I think when I mentioned earlier about how from beginning to end, this entire movie, for me anyway, it felt like it had a strong beginning, strong, you know, middle, strong end. I'll get to that in a minute. But thoroughly, it felt from beginning to end like they were trying to tell the story that I think they did a reasonable job at getting me entertained and interested in. I don't know what it would be like for, I guess maybe for someone like Clay, if he was expecting something much higher. I've never read the animes or was never familiar with them. I think that's why for me, I could always take away what this film did for me without the original source being the focus of its origins. I love the fact though that it made me believe like every little detail that they put on screen made you feel that much more that this world that they built for you to witness while these characters, you know, interact with one another. This world was very, very believable. I don't know. There's very little for me to say other than the fact that I was literally scrutinizing all the details. It even gave me some vibes from other movies that did it in other fashions that may not have done it as well. I'm not going to bring them up, but I just felt like they could have easily put it on a back setting and it was like a post-apocalyptic setting, right? We've seen them all. I think we even had one in particular not long ago, the
Love and Monsters.
The movie.
Red
No,
Declare.
the Ready Player One, sorry, is
Oh,
what I was
okay.
thinking of. In the sense that that's in a somewhat distant future. Like they don't go too far into the future, but just far enough to say that technology has gotten ahead of us now. I think that kind of thing is hard to do without actually slipping.
I think technology's way ahead for this future. Like we don't
Yeah,
have anything
no
like
doubt.
cyborgs or anything.
Yeah. Well, this one
Yeah.
went to an extreme where it went past the apocalypse. Like not to say they had one in particular, but they had a great war, and then they referred to it as the fall. And
Great
after
Fall,
the fall itself was what happened afterwards. And this is the world that they're in right now, right? So that was the part I was trying my best to make sure that if I'm paying close enough attention, they better do this right. Otherwise, if I feel like I'm being pulled away from this little universe that they built for us to watch, it would have kind of ruined the movie entirely. The characters weren't quite as strong as I would hope they would be. So I think that's why I was relying heavily on this world building that they had done for us. Okay, so that was my favorite, the world building. My least favorite actually had to be the ending. Even though it felt really strong beginning to end, the ending it ended on a weird note. I think I remember it saying out loud, "What? That's it?" Like, I get what you're doing. You're leaving it open-ended for another movie possibly, and I'm excited if they were to bring another, because now I want to see her rip into what was it? I think it was Edward Norton, which always threw me off too, because he has such little screen time. So when he took off his mask, and suddenly I realized again, oh, it's Edward Norton.
Surprise!
Now you got me really interested. Now I want to see where
he's uncredited.
So. Yeah, his mask, his goggles. You mean?
Threw him off. Yeah, exactly. And there's no mask, just a set of goggles, his swimming goggles. Anyway, that was to me the one weirdest thing. It was such a strong experience beginning to end, so that when they ended on that weaker note, just so they could keep it open-ended, it didn't sit well with me. I felt like they could have ended on a better note and still left it open-ended, but I don't know. Maybe they just they figured out they couldn't figure out a way to end it properly, I guess.
All right, and Kathy.
All right, well, there's a few things. I mean, like Debu was saying, that the ending kind of left me like, what? Like it threw me off a little bit. And I think what I didn't like, I'm going to start with what I didn't like. The beginning of the movie and the end of the movie kind of felt disconnected, because I don't know, it was just kind of like the doctor and that his wife or whatever, ex-wife, were such a huge part of the movie, and then they just kind of like meh, and this kind of they just stopped appearing, like for no apparent reason. So there was kind of like that disconnect between it felt like almost they smacked two movies together, both very good movies, but still just kind of smashed together. So it didn't have the flow, like, unless, like I didn't feel the flow of the movie being very smooth. Now, my favorite part of the movie, though, was actually when she originally went in to see the bounty, like to find help with the bounty hunters and whatnot. Yeah. That was very, very exciting for me. And then when I seen Casper, I can't remember his last name.
Van Dien.
Yes. Yeah. When I seen him, I'm like, I know him. I didn't really. It took me a while to figure out who it was, because it was just like.
You're talking about Zapan?
Yeah, like
that's not him.
It's
Starship Troopers.
No, that's the guy who plays Ajax from Deadpool.
No, Casper Van Dien's in that movie though.
Is he? Yeah. Okay, that's funny, because I thought that was that.
In
I
which
thought,
movie?
Like when I saw
in
him,
Alita Battle Angel.
Was him.
No.
Oh, anyway.
Who's he play?
Fact check.
Zapan is not Casper Van Dien. It's
no, not Zapan. Hang on.
That's Ed Skrein that plays Zapan.
Yeah.
But anyway, I really, really enjoyed her comments. It's like, I'm not going to take that much flack from somebody who spends all his money on his face. And then, so that made me laugh a lot. And then careful, you might muss your hair. Like it just kind of showed her,
sorry, who's it?
Like her strength without being.
Oh yeah, you're right. He is in there.
And
he was one of the.
I really, really enjoyed that.
Sorry.
Oh no!
I was just so caught up on the character. I don't think you did. Kathy.
Well, I think that it was written well enough that I found a bunch of parts of the movie were very heart-wrenching. Like I cried a lot more in that movie than I ever expected to. But then, of course, I'm a sap and I cried everything. I'm like, they're not real, Kathy. Stop crying. But whatever. It's just the way I am.
It was a real dog, though.
I know.
That was the only real thing in the movie. Like,
yeah,
kill the only living thing.
Yeah.
Well, even the dog,
yeah.
even the dog hunter, the guy with the dog hunter with the dogs, like all his dogs were like
All robotic.
cyborgs in some way.
Yeah,
And that was the only
yeah.
one that was like, that dog was like pure, like 100% organic.
Yeah, exactly. Which
And I think
is
that's what
awesome.
makes the killing of it even more brutal because
And because he was so brave, that little puppy, you know, he was the first one up there going, you know, come on. And
well,
he
I
just
think
kinda,
it's
like,
to show how she differs from the other hunters, and it also shows
like
it shows that she has empathy for
Yeah.
things where they don't
Yeah.
seem to have empathy.
Well, she's not a hunter though. That's her roots were obviously.
It was showing the difference between her and those hunters. Why she was different than them.
Yeah, because they only do it for money, and she actually had something that she felt was important that they needed to deal with.
Yeah, like everyone else's attitude was like, whatever, I'm not gonna get paid for it, so why bother? But she was like, come on, let's get rid of him, you know. And I think it just kind of established, you know, where her heart was, literally. Other than that part where she took out her heart, it's like, here, have it, but whatever. You know,
that kind of shows how naive she is. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up because her character, I think throughout the entire movie, I kept kind of looking at her like, why are you doing this? But then you get this really good impression, like she's just a really kind soul. She's really out there to fight for those who can't fight for themselves. Hence the little dog. The dog, I think, was a prime example of this because the dog could not defend itself up against anyone or anything in that entire city, right? Every given moment, the thing could have been crushed. And I think the fact that Alita was willing to stand toe-to-toe with that, the Sentinel or whatever they call that.
So the dog also establishes her relationship with Hugo, where he sees her rolling to save the dog because her instincts kick in because she's a battle angel or whatever, and she just like rolls in and saves the dog because that's what her instincts are. And that's what kind of connects him with her because he wants to be a better person because he knows how terrible he is. And when he sees her do that, he's like, oh wow, I've never seen anyone do that before. So that's what impresses him about her.
I thought
that like her softness with her badassedness, you know what I mean? Like she had a nice balance of that, which I enjoyed quite a bit. So yeah, that was basically like there's a whole bunch in the middle that I could actually talk for hours about, but we don't have that kind of time. So, but yeah, that was my favorite moments and my least favorite moments in the movie.
Least favorite was the ending, and favorite was the bar scene.
Yeah.
All right, and
there's this one quote that somebody had said that they were going to rip off your arms and beat you with the wet side. I haven't heard that since I was a kid. Like I used to hear that saying all the time, and when I heard it, I literally laughed out loud because I used to use it all the time. It's like, shut your face before I rip off your arms and hit you with the wet end. Like I said that all the time as a kid. Well,
that's because nobody hits each other anymore.
And well, yeah, you know,
we just talk it out.
We just like
don't want to offend anyone,
hashtag things on Twitter now. That's
hashtag arm.
That scene actually reminded me of a scene from Red versus Blue.
Oh yeah,
beat him with his own skull.
Yeah.
Story for another day.
I'm dead. Sorry about the interruption.
Not looking good for them, but anyways, carrying on. So yeah, I'm gonna do mine, and then I'll let you dig in here at the end there, Clayton. So my favorite, I'm gonna start with my least favorite. I totally agree. Definitely the more I watch this movie, I do notice like the little chinks in the onion as to why it's not a super great movie. Like it is a good movie. It's a really good movie, but there is like weird parts, like you said, like the ending feels disjointed from the rest of the movie. Like you just like it's
anticlimactic.
Yeah, well, a little anticlimactic, and like Dave said, it's like you expecting like this other part. So if you don't get like the other part, then it kind of ruins this movie a little bit. So it would have been nice if they would have just like made the movie without, you know, kind of adding that extra little bit at the end, which throws you off. For like something I didn't get the first time that I watched is that like Shireen was the brain and the hands in that in the case there that Vector shows Alita at the end, and I'm like, well, that's fucking weird. Like, I mean, she was a really important character throughout the whole thing, and like we should have seen her death on screen. Like, we should have seen that, so we could actually, because she was really important to the story. And if you and I did miss that the first time. I'm like, oh wait, so I thought that character was still alive, but only like later when I watched, I'm like, wait a minute, did he say that was Shireen? And I had to like rewind. I'm like, oh shit, well, that's odd and weird, and why would they do that? So yes, it does feel disjointing. Even like Hugo, fucking idiot, he fucking just gets his body back and he's like running up the thing. Oh, we gotta do that. You fucking moron. She just saved your fucking life. You know how much she fucking went through to save your dumb fucking ass? And then he's like, oh, we gotta be up at the place. It's the place. And it's just like, you're stupid. And then he dies, and it's like, bye, Hugo, you fucking idiot. Like, I fucking saved you for nothing. Like, I saved you 15 minutes ago in this movie from being killed, and then you just sacrifice yourself because you're so dumb. And like you said, she's naive. She's awesome. So, of course, she has a dumbass boyfriend, right? So...
I think it's safe to say that everyone in the, what do they call it? The the people living in Iron City, right?
Iron City, yeah.
I feel like every
what do they
single
call
one
it?
of them...
There's a name. Zalem. The Zalem is the upper city, and Iron City is the lower city.
Right.
So everyone has this dream to go to, the city up in the clouds. So that part didn't really bother me so much, other than the fact that we knew that. Here's the thing: they're climbing up this giant cable. By the way, how does she know which of those cables that he used to climb up? That was the one.
Well, she could probably see him because it's a big gas fucking cable. So you're gonna see someone going up it.
I don't know, man. That cable was. That cable was pretty huge, man.
Like, when you look at the scene before that he fell to his death, how high up were they? There was no way. I mean, maybe, I guess with those cybernetic enhancements, she might have seen him from a distance. But
let's talk about the fact that he's walking up it, and like you look at how far away the city is. It's like a 2-day walk to where he was.
Well, here's my worry: once he makes it up to that higher incline, how is he planning on getting further up the cable?
I don't know how that works.
Only halfway up, he was still kind of walking, right? As you get about 3/4 to further, higher, it's going to get way too steep, and he won't have anything to grasp onto. So I'm trying to think, how would he physically get to the end of that cable? Putting aside the defense mechanism.
Yeah. Well, the battle angels were trying to get up there when they were attacking it. So, okay. So so that's my least favorite part is the disjointed ending, and Hugo's an idiot. And and then my favorite part, and I think, and Kathy, you kind of took my favorite part. My favorite part, like I like pretty much like all the action scenes, but my favorite absolute one is when she goes into that bar and she gets all bippy with all those hunters, and they're just like, yeah, well, from what I see, you're all washed down, worn out, like, and you're like just insulting them all. Doesn't give a fuck. Hugo's like shitting his pants, like, yeah, you want to like stop like insulting all the warrior hunters?
Yeah. She does that double split kick and puts those 2 beer bottles right into both of the guys' foreheads there. That was pretty cool.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so Clayton, so that is my favorite part. That whole battle scene there, and just the tension building up as she's like taunting them and calling them on, because she's gonna kick their fucking ass, and you just can't wait to see it. So yes, I love that scene. And like you said, so to Zapan, she just like, he's being such a fucking.
She just disses him.
And
because
and he's like, make him look ruin your hair or something.
Yeah, they make him look like he's like, Hugo even says it when they run into him on the street earlier. They see him. He's like, oh, he's a bounty hunter. He's a bad guy.
What are you talking about? Stop bringing actors into
not Hugo Weaving. Not Hugo Weaving. Hugo. When Hugo and Alita see Zapan on the street the first time. They see him on the street the first time. Yeah. And Hugo actually gives her some exposition on, the bounty hunters and Zapan, and you want to stay away from him, and look at that blade and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, the blade doesn't belong to him. I think it belongs to the battle, like a battle angel or whatever.
Yeah, and then she just disses him like throughout the whole movie. Like
kicks the blade at him, sticks it in the wall.
Culminating with her cutting his face off.
Like, my face!
Yeah. But not killing him. but not
Right.
kill
I
him.
love that better because she doesn't kill him, and because the only
Exactly.
thing he cares about is his face.
Is his vanity,
point,
which is funny because he's like 90% machine.
And it's a funny thing in this world because you see them all with a beautiful face, and the rest of them is like cybernetic, right? So obviously that is a prosthetic that they care about in this world.
Even though the inside of his face is all cybernetic, having the skin over the face to appear human is still obviously important.
And he probably stole that face from someone that he killed.
But
because we're talking about taking people's body parts and stuff.
Yeah, I would imagine it's something to do with identity, I would think. Just maintaining your identity, other than, like Clay made it perfectly clear, 90% cyborg, clearly it's all about how they perform and less about how they look. However, their face always has to be.
They still want to have that face, yeah.
All right, so you got about
so
8 minutes to wrap this up there, Clayton.
Okay, so my worst, actually, funnily enough, is that this movie never stops. From the very beginning, the movie never stops holding your hand with exposition. Every time you get to a new scene, I usually do, but it felt more like Cameron and Rodriguez are like stopping to say, "Look at all this cool stuff we made. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. Oh, look at this. What's that? What does that do? What does this do?" They just constantly, and like Kathy, you were saying, the movie doesn't flow. And it feels like they're always stopping to explain where they are and what's happening. And I feel like this movie felt long. And I know a lot of stuff happened.
Really?
Yeah, for me, this movie it was just a really long movie. And I know that there was a lot of stuff happening. I am kind of glad, like you guys said, it's a bit anticlimactic at the end, but I am glad that Alita didn't finish off her ultimate nemesis in one movie. But the entire arc of the movie itself is just, it's a nonstop like virtual tourist. It's a virtual tour of this science fiction world that they've created, right? They're just constantly stopping to tell you about this and that, the battle angels and everything, and it's just nonstop. Every time you get a little bit of action, somebody has to stop and explain to you what's going on. Hugo stops Alita on the street to tell her about Zapan. Hugo has to stop to explain to Alita every single thing about Motorball, and then multiple people explain to Alita what Motorball is. When I feel like they could just do it much easier by just having the camera, while they're shooting the shots, kind of do the exposition in the background, because they do some great shots of the exposition of Motorball just through advertisements inside of the scenery itself. I don't feel like they needed to spend that much time on it. Also, one other thing, just kind of a side note, when Alita is going for the recruitment there, when she's trying to actually get in as a part of a Motorball player, when they break off the track and shit gets real there, that announcer is like, "Wow, I've never seen anything this crazy. Oh my God, Alita, followed by blah, blah." I'm like,
I don't like that announcer either. I was listening to him too, and I was like, isn't this guy watching the same thing I'm watching?
Yeah. And I was like seriously.
He should be like, what are they doing? That's not a part of the rules.
Pump it up, man. You've never seen this before. Pump it up, get excited.
Really
so
sell
it's just
it.
a part of the rules. You can't break out of the arena. Where are they going?
Exactly. Hey, you're all disqualified. It's like if they were if they were racing the Indy 500 and suddenly fucking one of the cars just broke out of the stadium and was like, "All right, drive in the streets." Announcer following in a helicopter. Where's the finish line? I don't know.
I got thrown off when they stopped going after the ball.
So yeah, that's what I mean.
No longer the chase.
Well, no, because they were all trying to kill Alita. That's why.
Well, Clay makes a good point that if that's the case, and the guy, this is the first time they've seen this happen, sell the thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Sell it. So
they should be like, keep those cameras rolling.
Oh, okay, hurry up, Clayton. Best and worst.
Okay. So best is actually, I love the in the background, the thing they don't explain that actually is kind of the key of the movie, is that Alita sort of in stages becomes upgraded. They're talking about the fall as if it's this really bad thing, and they're talking about this desperate state that all the people who live in Iron City are in. But Alita kind of gets this free ticket. She's a cyborg discovered by a very gifted doctor who gives her an advanced body. Then she goes up against another cyborg, right? She kicks his ass. Then he gets upgraded. He comes back. He kicks her ass. Then she gets the exoskeleton.
Yeah.
She gets the exoskeleton, and then he kicks her ass. However it goes back.
I swear they
forth.
just wanted to hear Christoph Waltz say Panzer Kunst.
Panzer Kunst. Yeah, I know. And every time he said it, I was like, yeah.
All right, so that's your favorite and your least favorite.
But it's funny because the movie is sort of like it's trying to be an adventure movie, but it's also like a cautionary tale about the
vanity
issues with arms race, right? With an arms race where Alita gets upgraded, her enemies get upgraded, then she gets upgraded, you know what I mean? Until eventually she's standing at above the motorball arena, you know, she's got the blade, she's pointing it right at Zolom, and Nova is standing on the pedestal watching her. And I feel like they did a really good job there of like having her keep upgrading until she's at that razor's point where she can get to him, but she just can't quite reach him yet.
Yeah.
So I did actually like that.
Okay. So that's your favorite and your least favorite?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's go around the table one more time. Let's refresh everyone what we did here. So we got a 2.5 from Clayton. 4 from Kathy. 4 for Dabu, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 4 for me. So pretty good, but unless you're Clayton, I guess not so much.
I don't know, man. I just like, would you watch it again?
I've watched it 3 or 4 times now.
Really?
Yeah, I really like it.
I will. You know what I will say? I will watch the sequel one time at least.
If there is a sequel.
If they make a sequel, I will watch it, but I won't. This will never be on my shelf, basically. Is what I'm saying.
Really? I'd put it on my shelf. I really like this movie, actually. I like the effects. I like Alita. But anyways, we are running out of time. I like the actress. I like the actors. We are running out of time. So once again, this is JPar signing out.
Yeah, boo, going bye-bye.
And this Kathy saying hi and bye.
Bye.
And
bye,
next time, we promise nothing. Good night.